What's going on, everyone? My name is Damien, also known as QB. How's everyone going today? I'm not going to waste anyone's time today. You guys obviously seen the title to the video, so you guys know what this is about. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. A like and subscribe will go a long way, but even just watching the video means a lot to me. So without further ado, let's get it. After trading away Mikal Bridges in the offseason, the Brooklyn Nets are actually trying to look towards a different direction than what they have been going so far this season. And yes, they still have a losing record, but I'm about to tell you why the Brooklyn Nets are actually a lot better than what everyone thought them they were going to be. Especially with next year's draft being highly anticipated, the #1 recruit in Cooper Flag. You'd think the Brooklyn Nets wouldn't be trying all that hard to try to win a game of basketball, but the players, the coaching staff, the organization has something else in mind, and that's to prove a point that they're going to have such a good core in a few years' time. Brooklyn Nets are actually 8th in the Eastern Conference, so if the playoffs were to start today, they would actually be in the play-in tournament competing to versus second seed. How crazy is that? And yes, I know they still have a losing record with 8 wins and 10 losses, but matter of fact, they're still being 18 games into the season and being not terrible as everyone thought they're going to be is actually quite impressive. Everyone was saying they're going to have the same record or even a worse record than last year's Detroit Pistons, who obviously had the record for the most lost games in a row in 27. As I said before, this Brooklyn Nets team is just proving that they have a great young core, and the coaching staff, especially the new coach, trying to build and make a name for himself, is actually coming really good, and it's just great to see these young hoopers just hooping, I guess, doing their thing. They are professional athletes at the end of the day. We're going to start off with some quite impressive stats for the Brooklyn Nets to start the 2024-25 campaign. They're going to be 4th in the entire league in 3-point percentage. Yes, 3-pointers percentage-wise per game, the Brooklyn Nets are 4th in the entire league at 38.6 a game. Also, while attempting the 8th most 3-pointers in the game as well, so be able to hold those standards on that percentage is actually quite impressive, especially on having top 10 attempts as well per game. We'll get into some of the reasons why these numbers are so significant and what players are actually boosting the absolute heck out of that. But I'm going to continue on with some of the impressive stats, which I actually couldn't believe myself, but after watching the Brooklyn Nets, especially after the last 2 games with impressive wins over Golden State and Sacramento Kings, both on the road by the way, it comes to a realization that this team is actually, as I said 3 times now, they're building something really terrific, and I can't wait to see what the future looks like in 3 or 4 years' time. But anyways, they're 10th in the entire league in assists per game. They're averaging as a team 27.3 assists per game, which is just unreal, which is obviously led by the star point guard in Dennis Schroeder. We'll get into a little bit more of Dennis Schroeder's stats really soon, but it's just the fact that he's able to spot into this role, especially agreeing not to get traded from the Brooklyn Nets because no one really wanted to be in this scenario, but he's taken his role with pride and is absolutely destroying it. And also how I mentioned the top 4, or I guess 4th in the entire league in 3-point percentage per game, they're actually going to be 13th in the entire league and inside the arc, so normal field goal percentage per game, without their starting center, I guess the main only center, really getting much playing time or just not being out of injury. So that means most of the shots are coming outside the paint compared to inside the paint, because obviously they don't have the big body. Well, one of the best inside players, Nicholas Claxton, who actually led the league in field goal percentage 2 seasons in a row, back in 2022 and 2023, which is actually quite impressive. But as I just said, 13th in the entire league in normal field goals per game. They're actually ahead of the OKC Thunder, who are actually the #1 seed in the Western Conference, the Boston Celtics, who are the 2nd seed behind the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference, and the Phoenix Suns, who are 7th in the West. That's just pretty high standards, and it's pretty good considering some of these teams that they're beating at the moment, who obviously has an OKC Thunder MVP candidate player in SGA. He's going to be MVP over the next 3 years, there's no doubt about that. And obviously all the Boston Celtics talent they have, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, who cannot shoot on that team, if you know what I'm saying. And nothing needs to be said less about Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Obviously those two are just elite, and he's chucking a little sprinkle of Bradley Beal as well when he hasn't been injured. It's just really good to see that they're beating all these teams in field goal percentage. There's still a whole lot of concerning facts about the Brooklyn Nets. It is only 18 games into the season, and as you know by now, we overreact over here to the first half of the season, pretty much just going over every team, seeing how they're going, anything that stands out. Obviously not having no Nicholas Claxton in the team or no true center, they actually played Zion Williams at the center position to start off the game, the last 2 games, so that's pretty interesting if you ask me. But resulting to that, as I said, not having a true center, you have a 6'9", 6'8", small forward potentially, well not potentially, here's a small forward playing center. They're going to be dead last in the association in rebounds per game, only averaging just under 37 per game, and around the league average is actually to mid 40s, low 50s. I really wouldn't say league average in the 50s, more about like the mid 40, high 40 zone. But that's pretty concerning, but I'm pretty sure when they get Nicholas Claxton back playing full-time minutes and becoming a starter, you'll definitely see that number rock up a bit more than what that is right now. They shoot really good, but they're not good at defending shooters. They're 26th in the league at giving up the best 3-point percentage per game at 48% dead flat, whilst giving up 40% inside the arc as well. So it kind of hover around the same number, 26 and 23rd inside the arc. It's something that you kind of don't want, especially for a young team. Your coaching staff is definitely trying to teach them the right morals and that, but obviously Fernandez being in his first year as head coach, I guess it's just a learning experience for everyone involved. And they're also dead last, and both hustle stats being blocks and steals, so not really getting much rim protection or much defensive steals. Which I said, obviously, once again, the blocks come to Nicholas Claxton, who also led the league in blocks per game as well, for one season, and has been at the top 10 when he's played plus 60 plus games a season, so therefore he's actually an underrated defender. So once again, in terms of blocks, I expect that to come up a bit more, but in terms of steals, I guess that's just more of a hustle personnel. They've been turning up the heat on the steals the last couple of games, but you definitely expect to see that number come up higher with all the young players and talent they have around, I guess, the entire team. The team's not really built around anyone. So once that chemistry gets up a bit more, give it like maybe 20 or 30 more games into the season, and no one's expecting the Brooklyn Nets to make playoffs. I'm pretty sure it's going to take a season length for these guys to gel well together, and hopefully like the front office can keep this young core together to see what they can become in a few years' time. As I said before, there's been a few major players that have been stepping up, and no one other than less than Dennis Schroeder, who's averaging 18 points for the season, 6.5 assists, and he's shooting 41% from the 3-point range and 45% from the normal field goal range, and also shooting just shy of 90% from the 3-point line. Dennis Schroeder is actually having an outstanding season. 18 games in, he's already notched 3 30-point games. His most 30-point games in the season is actually 5, and I think he's going to crush that this season of having this new leadership point guard role with this young Brooklyn Nets team. And not to mention as well, he's had 10 games or 20 or more points as well, so just absolutely just leading this Brooklyn Nets team in every single way, shape and form. Like in the Golden State Warriors game today, his teammates were struggling quite a bit, but then was able to backpack and turn on the Jets whenever he needed it. Whether that being him just getting into the lane more, getting some more buckets, or even dishing out a few open teammates in the corner. But without saying further and less, that Dennis Schroeder is having a great season so far, and his partner in crime, Cam Thomas, is having even a better season, which is just unreal. I guess a lot of NBA fans, and especially Brooklyn Nets fans, were speculating that Cam Thomas was going to have a crazy season this year, and this season, so far, he's proving exactly that. He's averaging just shy of 25 points a game, shooting 46% in field goals and 40% from the 3-point line. Cam Thomas is absolutely going off. His shooting numbers have gone up since last season. I'm talking about last season, but I guess last season he didn't really have like a greatest opportunity to shine. In the first half of the season, the team was really heavy, like all around Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and those type of guys. So be able to have a teammate and a point guard like Dennis Schroeder set him up and help him just develop him a bit more has been great to see. And Cam Thomas is going to keep getting better and better. So Brooklyn Nets fans, you have to be excited for that. And another player, the last player I'm going to talk about today, I know there's so much to go through, but we are running short on time. This video is going on way longer than I thought it was going to. He's been going crazy, and it's just been so good to see. And this whole team, the way it's been playing, I'm not trying to be that guy, but you can all thank Dennis Schroeder and obviously the coaching staff, because Dennis Schroeder has just been setting these guys up and being a great true leader to these young Brooklyn Nets. It's just great to see from the Brooklyn Nets, because as I said, they still have a negative record and 8 wins and 10 losses. But if the postseason were to start today, they would be fighting for that 7-8 playing game to versus second seeds. That's pretty exciting. And am I sitting here saying the Brooklyn Nets are going to make the playoffs? Hell no. I don't think they'll make the play-in. They'll probably end up falling a lot more down the Eastern Conference as the season goes on. But this is definitely a good start to a promising young future for these Brooklyn Nets. So that's going to do it for today's video. I need you guys to let me know what you think about this type of comment down in the comments sections below. I appreciate y'all so much. I hope y'all have a good one. Peace.